briefly share, if you don't mind, a personal or professional setback or challenge and how you got through it?
Well, that's a deep question there, Magnus.
It's a very deep question,
Magnus
mate.
the Viking.
It's question 11, so we're warmed up.
We're warmed up. Well, like anybody, like I've had many setbacks, and that's part of life, you know. And as a matter of fact, before I answer that question, that's one of the reasons why it's so important to invest in one's own mental, physical, emotional well-being, so your resilience tank is topped up. Because life gives us hands. You don't know when it's going to happen. You get that knock from behind or whatever that's going to smash you. And if your resilience is depleted, then you and I are at higher risk of getting mentally unwell. So use the opportunity to keep building up that resilience, that consistency of application. One of the toughest things, and I'll use that, I'll go deep, I'll go into the where Peter Ferreira comes from world. I grew up in a privileged environment. My dad was a doctor, a GP in South Africa. We're on top of the food chain in terms of, doctor, all that sort of stuff. Then he was tragically killed in an accident. And my mother got involved in an alcoholic relationship. So I grew up in a domestic violence environment in my teens, most of my teen years, which was it was horrible. As a matter of fact, I went off the rails myself. My brain could not process it. We went from top of the food chain to bottom of the food chain overnight. So that's what I mean. Life deals hands out. No control over that. So initially, I played the victim. Poor me. So I made some very poor decisions at that stage of my life.
Sorry, Pete, could I ask, how old were you when that happened?
I was 12 or 13 when it happened. 12 or 13.
It's a very vulnerable age.
Very vulnerable age. And I said I could not process what happened here, and I just went off the rails, made poor decisions. Lucky to be alive, actually, Magnus, sitting here talking to you, some poor decisions I made. And then we emigrated to Australia, and I was still a wild hogget, actually, when we arrived in Australia. I had a couple of issues, couple of police issues, and almost got deported. But that's maybe the next podcast. But then I had an aha moment. I had a self-reflection, and I thought to myself, what's happening here? What am I doing to myself?
What triggered that?
It was... this is a good question. When I was sitting in the Southport police station at 1 o'clock in the morning, being picked up for smoking marijuana outside a nightclub on the Gold Coast. And then the next day I reflected, and I thought, what's going on here? And I started thinking, what will my dad be thinking about this behavior? And what am I doing? I'm just spiraling downwards into a loser, basically. And then I reset my switch. And then I got very focused about, no, I can do better than this. And that's why I learned about the power of what you can do with your mindset. First, the easy one was to be the victim, like a baby. The tougher one is, okay, I don't like this, but what can I do to change my life around? And that's why I got interested in psychology and human behavior and went down that path. So that bad environment initially, what I've learned, has actually done me a favor. It's helped me realize of a lot of things, like how fragile life can be, how unpredictable it can be, but also the amount of power and influence you and I have got in creating our lot in life. So bring it on. Yeah. Bring it on.
So it's interesting, because that basically what you're saying is that you can change your situation in a second by making a decision.
Correct.
Yeah.
You by just switching your mental frame, the way you look at the world,
yep,
the world looks different.